So yes, as has been the way over the last few weeks, Raw had around about 82,741 segments, so what I'm going to do is I've condensed the intro here on Ups and Downs. My name is Simu, this is UD, this FOP, let's Uuduza. That made no sense, let's up those downs. It's just an amazing show, is it not? Because the intro video here was all about Rey Mysterio and how he lost an eye and there was a load of blood and this is the most depressing and worst thing you'd ever seen. And then you cut to the commentators and they were like, hey man, welcome to Monday Night Raw. We're gonna have the best time ever. It's like, you must have seen this too. Shouldn't we be sad for Rey Mysterio? It'd be like going to a funeral and playing some Jenga. You shouldn't be doing it. We've also thrown any repercussions out the window because Tom Phillips told us in around about 30 seconds, oh yeah, by the way, Ray went to a doctor and he was like, I can probably save that nerve so you will be able to see, which means he can go to Dominic's wedding whenever that will be and he can see sunrises, so Seth Rollins failed. All that build, all the hype put into it, all the tension, atmosphere, and he just weed it away. Regret saying that, but they did. They weed it away within, like I say, the first 2 seconds on Raw. You can't do it to me. Down. And I know it's just wrestling. Wrestling does this all the time. People get fired one week and then the next week they just turn up going, ha ha, I'm back. But this one was too much because the stakes were a lot higher. Nobody is picking the job. You've got to be able to see. Rollins and Murphy were then out to start Raw as we always start Raw. We're taking a couple of guys and throwing them in the ring. And the fake crowd started to chant at them, shame, shame. And I was like, it's not very fair on Seth Rollins. I mean, one, what would you have done if Rey Mysterio had won? Ain't no one shouting shame at Rey Mysterio. But two, it was flipping Mysterio's idea. So it's literally all Mysterio's fault, or according to Seth Rollins, it was our fault. Now, Seth, look, I really like you. I think you're a brilliant professional wrestler, but I can tell you this, none of this was the WWE Universe's fault. And if you would like any evidence, please just go on Twitter. Rollins then started making dad jokes when he said that Mysterio was out of sight, you know, because it's all about eyes. And I didn't even make any sense in the context of what he was talking about. And then finally, Alistair Black was out to try and get some revenge. Alistair Black should have been out within about 3 seconds, given that his mate had his eye removed. But look, at least we got there in the end. He whooped Murphy's ass because he was in the way, and then we transitioned into the much hyped up Seth Rollins versus Alistair Black match, and I plugged myself in because I was ready. And yeah, they had a really good contest, and I tell you this, if you want to do a proper program between Seth Rollins and Alistair Black, I would sign away on that. So in terms of the moves and the action and me going, well, hey, let's get it up. Alistair got absolutely potatoed though, and I don't really understand how WWE sees the character at the moment. The big change is when he went to punch Seth Rollins, Seth got out the way and instead Alistair hit the ring post, so Seth was like, now his arm is hurt, I'm just gonna wallop on that for a while. And walloped he did. Murphy tried to get involved at one point because of course he did, and the real fallout from that was a kind of distraction. Alistair Black didn't know what was going on. He got curb stomped and he just lost. And I'm sorry, this is a down. I just don't get why it feels like WWE has decided that Alistair Black doesn't have an upside anymore, and I swear sometimes we don't even see him on the show. If nothing else, his momentum has been completely pulled out from underneath him, and I thought 2020 was gonna be his year. I'm not saying that he would have been a guaranteed success, but it'd be nice if we gave it a go, and also I just want some new stars. That's all I want. Even if you have to climb up to space and grab a star and bring it down, I will take it. I will get whatever you can give me. There's nothing wrong with losing to Seth Rollins because it's Seth freaking Rollins, but this is just the overall arc for Alistair Black over the last few weeks. And I think we may have written him off TV too, because after this, Seth Rollins and Murphy went nuts and they started really hammering on Alistair Black's arm. I don't know why I'm hitting arm, including giving him a curb stomp to the forearm / tricep bicep area. I'm gonna guess at SummerSlam, we're gonna get an arm versus arm match between Seth Rollins and Alistair Black, and Alistair Black will have his arm cut off, but then Raw 24 hours later, they will say, oh, it just got reattached, so he's still got 2 arms. And then we can call him 2 arms out. I don't know. So I'm not saying this sucked, but I just feel a little bit bad for Alistair Hocus Pocus Spooky Black. Someone somewhere then pulled the random trigger because we went backstage and MVP and Bobby Lashley were talking to Ron Simmons. Damn, as he would say. And did anybody fill me in why they were talking to the former Farouk? No, they did not. He was just here having a good time. And they were very friendly, which was nice, but then when they were done, MVP and Lashley saw R-Truth, so they just went up to him and they started being mean. Truth then wound them up by accident by telling MVP that he really liked his fake United States Championship. And then like a 9-year-old, he goes, no, this is real. My dad got this from the shop down the road. And that guy said it was 100% legit. Don't you insult my things. But as it turned out, this was all a distraction. This was all a ruse because Shelton Benjamin, who has also, by the way, just vanished recently and no one told us why, was back. He kicked R-Truth, he pinned him, and he is the new 24/7 champion. And then as Bob and Umvup went to the ring, Benjamin joined them, so I think he's part of this crew. I'm not gonna lie, that made me very excited. I truly believe that Shelton Benjamin is one of the most underused wrestlers ever. So I tell you what, everything from this point on, up. Because they all stood together in the ring as Umvup started to run down Apollo Crews, who of course still isn't on Raw, but they just look so good with all of these belts. I know there's like a lot of gaga for all of them because the 24/7 title is stupid and MVP is a fake champion, but I don't care. It got me feeling all good inside. It all culminated in Cedric Alexander and Ricochet going out there because they were meant to be having a 6-man tag team match, but again, Apollo wasn't in the building. But these guys didn't matter because the good guys had gone out there and they'd found someone else. And can you believe it? Look who has returned to Raw. It's Ali. And this was really exciting and this was really great. But then you're like, wait, when Ali left WWE, he was a SmackDown guy and no one's explaining why he's now on Raw, but we don't need to worry. Who cares about facts? I don't mind this though because I love Ali and I want WWE to get behind him and I think they may be doing that. Also, this match was a barrel of laughs. At one point, everybody was diving at Bobby Lashley and he caught Cedric Alexander by the neck and then he caught Ricochet by the neck, but he forgot about Ali who just came careering into him. Bob went flying over the announce desk. It looked awesome. Also, do you know how this ended? Umvup seemed like he was getting the upper hand on Ali. He wriggled out of it. He hit the 450 and he pinned the kind of real, kind of fake US champion. And I am all behind that. Take him and throw him up to the moon. When he's up there, hopefully he can grab a star and bring it back down. Randy Orton promo followed this and he's gonna kill the Big Show, or at least that's what I took from it. He would have killed Edge and he would have killed Christian if it wasn't for those meddling kids. But now, tonight, on Raw, he will finish this murdering rampage by taking out the 7-foot giant. Orton is just great though at the moment. I mean, he could cut a promo on a giraffe and I'd be like, man, that giraffe, he's in load of trouble. Also, if Orton does want to fight a giraffe, the giraffe would be screwed. Think how long his neck is? So easy to RKO. And then Ron Simmons was back, but now he was talking to the Viking Raiders. And once again, nobody bothered to tell me what was going on. So he was just there. Ron just turns up. That's what happens on July the 20th, or whatever it was. Ron goes, oh, it's time for my annual jaunt in WWE. I hope he's well. We then doubled down on the whole unsanctioned match between the Big Show and Randy Orton, which was going to be the main event tonight, with the commentators telling us, remember, because this is not official, anything that happens WWE cannot be held accountable for. And if I was Alistair Black and I just heard that in the back, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to sue WWE right now because after my sanctioned match, someone tried to break my arm and now I'm out of commission, so you owe me a lot of money. Didn't think about that now, did you, WWE? All of this tied into a Zoom interview with Christian too, who said while he's having some good days, he's also having some troubling ones as well because of Randy Orton kicking him in the skull. But everything's going to be okay because when we get to the end of tonight's Raw, Randy Orton will have been ruined by the Big Show. Christian, I have some very bad news. Ruby Riott then beat Peyton Royce. We had all this stuff beforehand with Bianca Belair saying, oh, I love Ruby Riott, she's the best, but I don't like the Iconics. And then Ruby was there and Peyton Royce was there and Billie Kay wasn't there because she's doing business. I know what that means, but she's away doing business. They had a match and Ruby Riott won after the Riott kick. And all I needed to take away from this was that because she did get the victory, it is her first singles win since February 2019. I mean, if you consult the history books from that time, you will read about these amazing thing called fans who used to cheer and boo at the performers. It was a wonderful age. Anyway, she was just so happy afterwards. I was actually like, you know what? That's quite nice. And I need nice in my pro wrestling at the moment because sometimes we don't get that at all. So Ruby Riott, we are going to take a minute to honor this incredible win you have just achieved. Of course, if you actually joined in with me doing that, you crazy, but I love you, is getting it up. And then, well, I don't really know. Andrade, Angel Garza and Zelina Vega are in the back talking to Charlie Caruso like they do every week. Zelina started this off by saying, my guys, they're so good, they're going to win. because she's Italian now apparently, and Andrade agreed with this, but then just as they were about to head to the ring, they got absolutely whooped by the Street Profits, who've also just returned from nowhere with no one telling us where they've been. But then this led to a non-title match, and of course usually WWE does non-title matches so the champions can lose, but that's not what happened at all. Not only were the Street Profits in control for large portions of this, but Montez Ford, no word of a lie, may have hit the best frog splash I have ever seen in my entire life, and believe you me, I have seen a lot of frog splashes, smashed it onto Angel Garza, and they won. And they looked completely dominant. They looked like, dare I say it, tag team title holders. And I was utterly perplexed. This was the most anti-WWE thing ever. I know we've kind of just sacrificed Andrade and Angel Garza after weeks of build, but they were kind of rehabbed by the end of the show. But again, when do you ever see this? We need to give it an up, which we're doing, give it an up, and now we need to get out of Dodge before WWE realise what they've done. Andrade and Angel were then being nice to each other backstage, even though they had lost, and Zelina Vega was absolutely confused about this. And at the time, I was baffled. Like I say, give it a few minutes, and I'll be able to fill you in, like Craig David. Did he make it to America? I don't know. He was a guy over here, had a song going, can you fill me in? It was average. I then, my friends, had the greatest realization in history. And I'm talking from, when the dinosaurs were roaming around. Because if you haven't seen Extreme Rules, Sasha Banks and Bayley basically screwed Asuka out of the title, but not really, when Bayley put on a referee's costume and went 1, 2, 3, and then they went, oh, because I did that, it means Banks is now the champion. So what Sasha did is she took the title, and because she took the title, she now thinks she's hers, so she kind of repossessed it. So I, Simon Miller, am saying, in 2020, Sasha Banks is the brand new Repo Man, or in this case, Repo Woman. So congratulations, Sasha! I wasn't expecting that at all. Genuine laugh is getting it up. And that counts for almost everything we were about to see, because you just know that Bayley and Sasha are so good together. They came out here and they were like, look, I don't care what anyone's been saying. We are now officially the SmackDown and Raw Women's Champion. If you think otherwise, you are an absolute numpty. I mean, they're not, but that was their point. Asuka then interrupted, as is the way, and called Sasha Banks a thief, which really made me laugh. And then do you know who appeared on the big screen? Stephanie McMahon. Why was Stephanie McMahon there, and why did no one make a bigger deal about this? It was like Ron Simmons had run her up and gone, oh, don't forget what Wednesday is, and Steph was like, oh man, it's come around so fast, and off they trucked to Raw. Well, she didn't. She was on a big screen. This was so dumb too, because one, why is Stephanie McMahon all of a sudden making matches? But two, she said, look, Sasha, you're not the champion, but to be fair, Asuka, you didn't win the match either, which she did because Sasha Banks tapped out, by the way. But to solve all this, we're going to have an ODQ, no count out, no Bayley interference match on next week's Raw, so put that up your pipe and smoke it. And I understand why WWE is doing this. They're trying to pop TV ratings, but you can't just have random people reappear. And I take extra umbrage with this because you do not make the rules, Stephanie. We know who makes the rules. That's right, Stephanie McMahon. I make the rules. You put me in charge, and I've been doing a flipping good job for the last few weeks. You never told me you were just gonna turn up, I swear. How do I believe ya? I didn't do anything because you took away my power, and the wizard in the sky won't let this lie. That right, I'm a poet. You can't just magically have people do this. You just can't. Imagine you'd only been watching the show for 2 weeks. You'd be like, who the hell is that? Nobody even explained. Down. The madness then continued as it was Bayley versus Kairi Sane. But you know what? This was an absolutely fabulous match, and given all the rumours that this may be one of the last episodes of Raw and in WWE we see Kairi Sane on, I had a flipping good time, and it filled up my happy tank. Because despite not ever really being used to her full potential on the main roster, Kairi actually got the win here after she used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Bayley went for the Bayley to belly, but Kairi was too smart. She did indeed roll her up. She got the 1, 2, 3. Asuka was like the happiest person on the entire planet. I was probably number 2. All of this was just so good, and again, the match is a thumbs. We do have to pull the counter down and put it up to number 55, but I don't care here, because I guess this is going to go somewhere cool too. I think we have Kairi Sane on next week's Raw before she does leave WWE, and I bet Sasha Banks and Bayley absolutely whoop her ass, which writes her off TV, and that's just good storytelling. I was just so happy to see Asuka delighted for her friend as well, because I had a friend once. He was made of snow, we wore scarves, and we went flying through the air. And then he died. Okay, however, halfway through this, we did indeed cut back to Shayna Baszler, who was watching a television screen like this. Like, she couldn't have been at a more weird angle. Imagine you watch television like that and it's over there. That's basically what she was doing when she was approached and asked, Mrs. Baszler, no one said that, but Shayna, do you have a vested interest in this match? I don't want to do this. I like Shayna Baszler. However, hello, my name is Simon Miller and welcome to another episode of Nobody Talks Like That, this week featuring Shayna Baszler, because after she was asked if she had a vested interest in this match, she did talk like a normal human being until we got to the end, or her go-home line. Because she said, do I have a vested interest in this match? Well, does a shark have a vested interest in its prey? That doesn't make any sense, Shayna Baszler, because a shark doesn't have a vested interest in its prey. It has to eat, otherwise it dies. It doesn't swim around going, well, I better do something soon, otherwise I'm going to starve to death. It acts off instinct, and also, nobody would just start talking about sharks from absolutely nowhere. You want to know why? Because nobody talks like that. Stop scripting Shayna Baszler. Down. And then, oh boy, this wasn't great, was it? Down. I'm going to give you the short version so you don't have to get a little bit upset like I did, because Drew McIntyre is out here and let's just double down and establish that he's a great champion. I flippin' love him. But so was Dolph Ziggler, who begged Drew McIntyre, begged to give him another match, even though at Extreme Rules he had thrown everything and the kitchen sink at him and still lost. And be honest, lost pretty damn easily. Rightly so, McIntyre was like, no, I'm not fighting you again, you doofus. You absolutely suck. But when Dolphy Boy said to him, well, I tell you what, this time you can pick the stipulations, McIntyre changed his name, and once again, we are going to get Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre, even though Dolph Ziggler doesn't deserve it at all. And once again, I understand it's the proper TV rating, but does it make any sense? No, it does not. How can you lose so convincingly and yet still worm your way back in to becoming potentially the world champion? I mean, he won't, but there was no need. Zero need. Don't do the need. Hashtag need. No. Thankfully, in between all of this, Drew McIntyre did just headbutt him, so he still has all the power and the fun in the world. We should get to Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for SummerSlam, and we should get there yesterday. However, there was an amazing bit during this when Dolph Ziggler said to Drew, hey, you can pick the stipulations, and as he was thinking about it, somebody in the crowd shouted, do an eye for an eye! Could be the best moment of Raw in the last 42 years. Big Show then cut his own promo, said that when Randy Orton and him used to team on the road, they called themselves Hammer and Chisel, which actually made me laugh out loud. I'm sorry, I'm sure it means a lot to them, but I'm a moron. And then he talked about tigers for a little bit. I'm not making that up. The major takeaway is that he's worried that Randy Orton may end his career tonight, and it could happen, and also informed us that for the past week, he'd been looking at himself in the mirror. That's what he said. For the last week, I've been looking at myself in the mirror. Big Show, you've got to find a better use of your time. We then had this match, and it was our main event, and it was so strange instantly, because during Big Show's promo that had happened 30 seconds before, he was like, oh, I've got to take on Randy Orton with Ric Flair in his corner. And was Ric Flair in his corner? No, he was not. Now, I understand the situation is changing all the time for the obvious reasons, but when WWE does this, it really hurts my brain. I had to rewind and watch this because I'm like, did I make that up? Do I have a problem? Do I need to go see a doctor? Anyway, for what this was, it can have an up. Now, there was a bunch of nonsense here, as there were always going to be, including Andrade and Angel Garza running out, which is what I was referring to earlier, to try and help Randy Orton. So we should keep an eye on that. Unless you're Rey Mysterio, you definitely need to rest. But they were then taken out by the Viking Raiders, so maybe we're going back to that feud, and also maybe that's what Ron Simmons was telling them. He was like, damn, I heard that they're going to be out there, you need to go and help. And why he cares, I don't know. I'm just guessing. Big Show, however, made a terrible mistake because he put Randy on a table, again, unsanctioned match, and he was going to big splash him through that. You know, he's giant, he's quite slow, he missed, and then Randy Orton went into psycho mode. He hit Show with the RKO, but after he kicked out, he just got a chair and wailed on him for like 2 hours. He then hit him with the draping DDT, gave him another RKO, and that was it. He pinned him to the 1, 2, 3. But you knew what was next. You knew what was coming. And as Big Show was trying to make his way to his feet, Orton ran at him. He kicked him right in the head, and that's that. Big Show is dead. I don't know why we sold this as an unsanctioned match other than the sense that it sounded cool, and Orton did all his badass stuff afterwards when he got right in Big Show's face and he was like, I told you, he's like some crazy cowboy. So Orton has officially done away with another legend. Again, he needs to go on to SummerSlam and challenge for the WWE title, unless you want to do some kind of spin where he punts himself in the head just to prove that he thinks he's a legend. And right now, the state of WWE, that's probably been suggested. I would guess we are headed in that direction once Dolph and Drew McIntyre has been done on TV. And overall, what a very, very strange episode of Raw. And I think the reason for that is that there's a bunch of rumors out there that it was written hours before they taped the thing. In fact, they had a time to tape it, and Vince went, nah, delay it, I'm gonna go scribble away. And scribble away he did. So when it comes to a question of did I enjoy this show, I'm not sure whether I did. I actually felt in some areas it dragged just a little bit, but because I am a positive Pete, I'm gonna give it a middle. That's right, you thought I was gonna say up, that's not true. I've introduced the middle. I have to give this a middle because again, by the end I was like, maybe I need just a little bit of a break. It's been a crazy few days. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, hit subscribe. It's right there smiling at you like a fish. Then head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Make sure you go back 24 hours and watch Ups and Downs for Extreme Rules so you can stay up to date. And now, I sleep.